All right, and welcome back to episode 10 of the Alec Frengos show. This is a sports podcast centered around NBA and NFL. And today we'll actually be talking some NHL here, recapping NHL free agency. Alex DeBrincat is a Detroit Red Wing. Are the Vegas Golden Knights the favorites going into next year? What are the keys for these NFL teams for this upcoming season? And we're going to play a Would You Rather at the end, which will be a surprise. I'm here with Bryson Puncher, the Red Wings fan, which we're going to be getting into a lot of Red Wings today. Ryan McKellar up here, and Joey Price to my left. And we're going to start with Alex DeBrincat to the Detroit Red Wings. I don't have much to say, but I know you do, so go ahead and let us know what you think about this blockbuster move.
Oh, I have a lot to say, and it wasn't really a surprise. I mean, I'm checking my phone every 20 minutes to see if it actually happened, and it did, and I mean, I'm happy with what we gave up. We didn't give up too much. I mean, we gave up Kubalik, who really was on our fourth line at most times in the season. And we gave up a first-round pick, which actually we can choose, like, which pick we want to give up. So, say, like, the Bruins actually, like, do really good, and then we still fumble. We can dish that one as a late first.
Yeah.
And then the fourth-round pick, I don't really care about. And Donovan Sabrango, he's a great Kitchener Ranger, but not a good NHL prospect, really.
I want you to get more into it, but first, to me, this trade looked very lopsided for an elite goal scorer like Alex DeBrincat getting dished for a bottom six forward, would you say?
Yep.
Mid-tier prospect and a first that might not even be that high. I feel like getting someone at that type of level and make a big impact to your team for that much value, well, that little of value is pretty big for your organization. Going into the next couple of years where your young guys are going to develop and then eventually hopefully contend. So I want you to talk about more this extension they actually gave him here.
The extension we gave him, I'm happy with it. $7.825 million, I'm pretty sure was the extension. 4 years.
4 years.
So, I mean, Yzerman, he's really against giving out long-term deals. That's been known for that, and I like the contract for sure.
What do you think of this move?
Solid move. I think Alex DeBrincat brings a lot to this Detroit team. His wicked wrister. He's got a great shot. He could be a sneaky power play guy.
Yeah.
It'll definitely move their power play percentage up. Just having him as a shooting threat whenever he's open, touching the puck. And he's a guy I think who can gel instantly on this team. He's
hometown kid, right?
Yeah,
hometown.
He's not the type of guy where he's an extreme skill speedster. Like, this guy will gel quick. The puck will be on and off his stick, whether it's a shot and quick plays. So great fit.
What do you think, Joey?
Well, I just think, what were they not good at last year?
Scoring goals.
Exactly. And they just got their guy for that.
So let's add a little add-on question here. The Detroit Red Wings ceiling in 2023-24 is
Playoff contender.
So, just a first-round playoff team?
Yeah, I would say first-round playoff team, and I think some of the additions that Steve made in the offseason were really going to help out. JT Compher is a good pickup. He's obviously a Stanley Cup champion. He can bring winning atmosphere to Detroit.
For what team?
From the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, lots of great signings.
Justin Hall.
Oh, boy.
We're going to
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
I really like the Klim Kostin move. That's the move that I think is really going to help us out, because something the Red Wings struggled last year. We got
goal
pushed
scoring
around.
And getting bullied.
Yeah, we got pushed around. Kostin's going to come in, and he's going to, if someone touches Raymond or DeBrincat or Larkin, he's going to come in and be like, hey, you got to go. Drop the gloves, and that's what we need. But I mean, DeBrincat's the big blue chip here. I mean, DeBrincat's really going to be the one who completed our first line.
Yep.
And I really think that's going to be a good first line. Playoffs are an option for sure.
Two missing pieces the Detroit Red Wings have found absolutely. What's the ceiling for you here?
Ceiling is definitely a home playoff series. I think
home.
Yeah, no, because especially I think this year, the Atlantic isn't as one-sided as like Leafs, Tampa, whatnot. Like, Bruins are digressing or whatever. Tampa Bay are kind of opened up. They're not too much of a threat anymore. Florida's Florida. They'll be up there. Montreal, they'll
Buffalo will be
bottom
better.
feeders. Buffalo will be better, but I don't see them contending with
Is it-
Detroit.
Is Atlantic the consensus best division in hockey?
I wouldn't say so.
No?
You know?
Metro,
I would say the Metropolitan Division.
With teams like
Rangers, Devils, Hurricanes,
Pittsburgh,
They got-
Okay,
Capitals.
yeah.
Penguins
Islanders are in
The
there, right?
Islanders, they're
Yeah.
always in the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Detroit definitely.
Home playoff series.
Yeah, I think it's.
So could you
that's a
say
ceiling.
second round appearance? Are you
Yeah.
comfortable saying that?
I'm comfortable saying it because of how the NHL format works for playoffs. I think they could definitely squeak one out. Detroit is Hockey City, so going
Damn
in there,
right.
going in there as an away team in a playoffs, it'd be tough to pull out a series.
Yeah.
I hope to God you're right.
So, for me, I think the Detroit Red Wings can make the playoffs, actually. But as a wild card team, I think the one thing that won't be able to put them past the first round is goaltending. I still don't think they've figured that out. They don't have that standout goalie that'll make a cup run or win you a playoff series, I think. That's shown with a lot of teams throughout the years where when you don't have good goaltending in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how good your forwards and defense
Yeah.
are. It's the most important position in hockey, in my opinion. And that, the
point.
Detroit Red Wings, they've got Husso, Leon, who did fold in the playoffs for the Florida Panthers, and who do they got?
James
Leon,
Reimer.
Husso, and James Reimer. Like, I get they've got some veteran presence. They've got Husso, who's still young and has
Yeah.
potential, but I just don't see them with this type of goaltending room to take them over the top to a second round. That's just my opinion, though.
point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got them being like an 8 seed or like bottom wild card team in the East.
Yeah.
Like, I like their additions they made. I think it'll just be like one more year just to get the chemistry, and I think they'll be competing in the
And
playoffs.
still, a lot of
and
young
going far,
guys,
yeah.
a lot of young guys to develop still too. Like, it's not like it's time to win now. Like, you got
Yeah.
so many guys in that system. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
You know, I thought that maybe sticking them as a wild card, but I think that there's just so much that can happen on this team. That's why I'm making their ceiling pretty high, especially with their division being semi-open. But I think playoffs are almost a lock, to be honest.
Okay.
I think so
lot,
too, and I
really.
want to add something here. The
Lot-
one big thing to the DeBrincat trade, we kept all of our top prospects and we got a 40 goal scorer when keeping Simon Edvinsson, Marco Kasper,
Talk about it.
Axel Sandin Pelika, and Nate Danielson. We keep them all and we get a 40 goal score.
I don't even think you gave up a top 10, maybe a top 15 prospect.
Yeah.
So,
No
yeah,
kidding.
it looks good. Definitely looks good for Steve Yzerman on that that type of move, bringing a hometown kid home, extending him. And he's that type of perennial player, and he's going to impact your team to win.
Yep.
So we're going to get into now the NHL free agency. Obviously happened, a ton of moves happening like every year. Trades, signings just flying in, a lot of changes. So we're going to go, what's your favorite move, least favorite move, in a team that won and lost free agency. But first we're going to go around the table. We're going to say our favorite move, and I'll start with you, Joey.
Like, favorite signing?
Favorite
My
signing.
favorite signing was Bertuzzi, just because he's a big playoff guy. He'll come in for the Leafs. Well, he's a better Bunting. Better
He
Michael
was-
Bunting.
Oh, yeah.
Quick point
Yeah.
about Bertuzzi. He was the best player for the Boston Bruins
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
He was.
He showed up big time. And not only did he score an assist, he brought grit every single game. Go ahead.
Like, he's not going to take those stupid penalties Michael Bunting did in the playoffs. It's just so unnecessary. He's going to fit in nice there. I think he'll be on the first line with Matthews and Marner.
Hope so.
Yeah, he'll be a great addition to the team, especially with their playoff struggles. Maybe they'll go a bit further with him.
Hate
Yeah.
the Leafs, but you can't hate that take at all.
Mhm.
Bertuzzi's a game changer. Go ahead, Bryson.
You know what? I really like the Ryan O'Reilly deal for Nashville. I think
Okay.
that's a really great deal for them because that's a roster that's still pretty good on paper, but they're kind of falling out of contention. And they made some big additions in Ryan O'Reilly at 4 years, $4.5 million. He's still a great player, still a good number 2 center, and that's really what they needed. Extra help down the middle. And Ryan O'Reilly, I think that's a great price and good term for him.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I liked Connor Brown to Edmonton. I know I liked him on the Leafs, being able to see him play a lot in Toronto. I liked him. Then the Leafs kind of did him dirty, and they sent him around, I think, to a couple teams. I know he was in Ottawa for a bit. I think he was at another team before that. But I like his gameplay, his style. In Erie, I'm pretty sure he actually was like the top point scorer on Erie.
Yeah.
And I think him being with McDavid, I think that's something you just can't overlook. I think they'll be able to go in and gel pretty easily. Hyman I think he's kind of like a Hyman type player, and Hyman went into Edmonton and was an immediate impact to them. So I think Connor Brown can do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite move here in free agency was Milan Lucic back to the Boston Bruins, bringing him home. Bruins actually, I say it kind of as a joke, but not really. The Bruins lost a lot of important bottom six guys, which they were so deep in last year, and Lucic, obviously a guy that was in Boston, cemented his legacy there, and now bringing him back bottom six. He's a great locker room guy for them, and I think if the Bruins can contend at all, he'd be a good help to help them try to get back to that cup. So we're going to go biggest loser now. Go ahead, Joey.
Worst move?
Yeah.
My worst move was Alex Killorn to the Ducks. 4 years, $6.25 million. He's 34. He's going to be 34 in like September.
It's a lot of money.
So giving him 4 years, pushing him to 38, just doesn't make sense for him to go to a rebuilding team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm actually going to go with Justin Hall to
your Detroit Red Wings. Okay, wasn't expecting you to go your Red Wings for the worst move. Go ahead, though.
It makes no sense. I mean, you look at the right defensemen, like, in free agency, you got Gudis, you got Connor Clifton. Like, any of those guys would have been better than Justin Hall, who clearly struggles when the spotlight's on him in the playoffs.
Oh, where did Clifton go again, sorry?
Buffalo.
Oh, great.
And Gudis went to Anaheim.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he helps our right defense. He's better than Gustav Lindstrom. But really, there were better options, and I really hate that we're paying him $3.4 million over 3 years. Not great term at all.
No, it's not. Go ahead, Ryan.
I have Jonas Korpisalo to Ottawa. I'm not really looking
Bad
at...
move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really looking at the price on what he got, but I'm just saying as a fit. I think Ottawa, their goaltending is lacking. Like, I think they got... I think it's Hellberg or something there is their goalie, some weird name like that. He's not really
and Cam Talbot.
A guy. Cam Talbot, I didn't really see him play much last year. Like, he didn't really seem too good either. And then they're just adding on Jonas Korpisalo, who seems pretty average goaltender. And especially if Ottawa has a young core and they want to be able to keep at least some type of pace, I think goaltending will definitely be an issue there. And I think if they wanted to get a goaltender and they thought Korpisalo was the move, I can't see it, to be honest.
For my worst move, this actually might be a little bit of a hot take. I have Jordan Binnington 2.0, Aiden Hill getting 2 years, 4.9 mil, almost 5.
Wow.
I think that, I don't know, is he going to be one of these one miracle run type of guys where he just runs out and he's straight garbage after? I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
I don't see like this guy as a franchise goalie to me, and I think 5 mil is pretty crazy to me, actually. I get it after you won a cup, the organization's happy, they're going to pay him what he deserves, but if you really look into the future, I don't know if this money is going to be worth it, and that's why I think it's a little bit hot, but I think that it could actually turn out to be a terrible contract.
I don't hate it.
Back on the goalies, I saw another one, Semyon Varlamov for like 4.5 mil or something.
Where'd he go?
Back with the Islanders.
Isn't he old?
Yeah, and then they re-signed Sorokin to like an $8 million deal, and it's like when you got a star goalie like that who he hasn't really been injury prone in his career, so he's going to play a lot of games. Like, yeah, having a good backup is good for the regular season, but I think dishing a goalie that much money as a backup is kind of a lot.
And I want to add to that. What is Lou Lamoriello smoking, man?
Yeah.
Because he also handed out 7-year deals to Scott Mayfield and Pierre Engvall.
Yeah.
A lot of terms are weird, I feel like, in the NHL. Like, GMs are giving out 7-year terms to guys in their mid-30s. Some of these contracts are just so stupid.
They are bad.
Yeah.
Some of them are terrible.
Anyways, we're going to go winners and losers of NHL free agency. We're going to say teams. We're just going to go teams. You're going to give me winner and loser, and then we'll talk about it. Go ahead.
My winner is the Hurricanes, and loser is the Bruins.
Go ahead.
My winner is the Predators, and my loser is the Senators.
I got my winner as the Pittsburgh Penguins, and my loser the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay. My winners, I sadly have the Toronto Maple Leafs, and my losers, I have my own Boston Bruins. So we'll talk about this a little bit more here. So who did you have as your winner?
The Hurricanes, so I think they're going to go to the Stanley Cup next year.
Okay.
They're my team to do it. They signed Orlov. He was good for the Bruins.
Beast.
2.27 million years over 2 years.
7.8 or 9, something like that, yeah.
A bit expensive, but only 2 years. And then they signed Bunting and re-signed Frederick Anderson. He was actually very good in the playoffs. for them.
Yeah, I agree.
And so your winner, get into it.
My winner is the Nashville Predators. I mean, that's just a roster that needed some retooling, and they addressed every need. I mean, they get Gustav Nyquist, who's a great veteran presence. They get Ryan O'Reilly, who I think was the best contract out of free agency. And they add their toughness. They get Luke Schenn as a good complementary bottom pair defenseman. And they also made some other moves as well. Obviously, the draft being in Nashville. Obviously, the team wanted to provide a bit of spark for the fans. And I think Nashville did a great job.
Who did they draft, Nashville, sorry?
Matthew Wood.
What do you grade that pick?
I think it's a solid B+ for them. Yeah.
Get into your winner here.
Pittsburgh Penguins. I just wrote down some names here, and these are some great just depth guys. Ryan Graves, solid defenseman. Nolachari, he's bringing him over back from Toronto.
Dubas, yeah.
Dubas is bringing him to Pittsburgh now. He's also doing the same. He's getting Andreas Janssen, who he had him for a bit in Toronto. He's also bringing him over to Pittsburgh. Lars Eller, Matt Nieto, and Will Butcher. Those are all solid guys that they added in free agency. I really like how Pittsburgh is stacking up their team, especially, and I think they re-signed Jari. Jari is a little bit of a fluke goalie. He can get away from his game sometimes, but if he can somehow pick up his game, I think he'll help this Penguins team make a good playoff push.
Yeah, Penguins adding some good depth there, and then I don't really want to get into my winner too much, the Maple Leafs, because I absolutely can't stand them, but they get two guys here, Bertuzzi and Domi, who are Domi obviously not as good, but two just skilled players that have so much bite to their game, and that's the identity that the Leafs are missing. Guys that can get in the corners and even put pucks in the net, assist, kind of do it all, guys. And Leafs are missing that because Marner and Matthews, they're not super gritty players, especially in the playoffs. And they tried to add a bunch of grinders like Schenn and stuff at the deadline, which it obviously didn't end up working. And then they obviously got Reeves. I don't really like that move. He's not an NHL caliber player, honestly, but you can throw him out there in regular season and a couple shifts a period in the playoffs to just skate around and look for heads.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Leafs did a very good job, I think, as the new GM. I don't know his name, but
Brad Shuvlin.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job.
I like the Reeves deal, though.
Well,
3 years is a lot.
3 years is a lot, but I think
he's unplayable in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know, but I think having a guy in the locker room, allow that type of guy, and on the ice, I think is going to allow Marner and Matthews to play more free, because they know if some guy comes running at them, they got backup on the bench. He's hopping off immediately. His gloves are in the first row, and that guy's running around the ice. So it's like, fair. I think it just gives them something to play free. Always having a guy like that on a team is always good. I mean, he's not going to give you maybe more than 15 goals a year, but I think he brings some
Not
jam.
even 10, probably.
Not even 5. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm just looking at it in a skill standpoint. Obviously, Reeves has never been known for his goal scoring, playmaking.
Never.
He's just known to protect young guys and protect superstars, which he's done a pretty good job of. So I don't mind that counter take. So we're gonna go to the losers here, and who did you have as your loser and why?
I had the Boston Bruins just because they lost some talent. Yeah. 2 key forwards, Taylor Hall and Bertuzzi, just losing them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bergeron, he's done, right?
Pretty much.
Maybe. Yeah. Who knows?
Coming
Krejci too.
Krejci, yeah. So their team's just going down.
Falling apart. Yeah, so I'll go next because I had the Bruins too, just to add on. Going into free agency, I thought, okay, Bergeron and Krejci both might retire, but Orlov and Bertuzzi, we got to at least bring one of them back. Yeah. We got to at least get one of them, and we lose both, and we dump Taylor Hall before Bertuzzi and Orlov hit free agency, so this has got to be a sign that we're re-signing one of the two. But we dump Taylor Hall in a salary dump, basically, for nobody, and we let both of them walk. I don't know what we're doing here, Don Sweeney, and that just confuses me a lot. Losing 2 of your best playoff players who were rentals at the end of the day, but you could have brought one of them back if you really wanted to make it work, and it just didn't end up working. And the Bruins, if they can't get Bergeron back, this team's just going downhill. Go ahead.
I had my losers, the Ottawa Senators, and it's more like they're struggling to keep up with the Red Wings and the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, with all that cap room that they had, they didn't sign anybody except for overpaying Korpisalo, who has proven he can't even be a reliable starter. and they're paying him for what, 4 or 5 years, and they just failed to bring in any of the big name free agents. And now I think my Red Wings, they're ahead of them now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the Sabres, they're ahead of them now.
Yep.
And Ottawa's just falling out of the race, and Pierre Dorian's sleeping on the couch, and he's freaking snoozing through free agency. And
Worm Farm, right?
yeah, as far as I'm a Red Wings fan, and I mean, he can sleep all he wants because Yzerman's out here making moves, and Ottawa's down in the basement.
Yeah, that I feel like Ottawa, it's so hard to have a franchise there. Nobody wants to go to play in Ottawa. Nobody wants to play there. It's not appealing at all. One, it's Canadian.
Yeah.
And two, it's not hot. It's terrible, and it's just Ottawa in general. Like, it's got to be so hard for that organization to grab players. They had DeBrincat for a year, and he wants out.
Yeah.
One, because the team's bad, and it's really never been amazing.
Yeah.
And number two, it just feels like it has no culture at all. It's just like one of those franchises that you just throw in there, and they're just an NHL team, just be an NHL team. Like, they're just so boring.
They are boring.
Go ahead.
For my loser, I had the Winnipeg Jets, mainly. So you lose Blake Wheeler. You already were going to move on from anyways, whatnot. You lose him. You already got an unhappy goalie in Connor Hellebuck, who has already said he doesn't want to be in a rebuild.
Maybe and a Red Wing.
And then you go out. You go out and you do nothing to listen to him. You don't go out and get anyone. You go get Vladislav Nemesnikov and Laurent Brossoit. That's nothing. So it's like you got an unhappy goalie and you don't do anything to help him.
Yep.
You lose Blake Wheeler, your veteran. It's already going to bring some unhappiness to Mark Scheifele. Who knows? He could be gone. And then if he goes, it might be a ripple effect. You might see just a whole maybe rebuild, because in a team like that, you can't just... They've just been so average, and maybe like one playoff series win team, and it's just they've done nothing to add to that team. So obviously I think there's going to be some big moves. Scheifele or Hellebuck going to be gone, and it's just going to be a whole reset for Winnipeg. They need to do it. They didn't do anything in the offseason. One of the most quiet and boring teams, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Is it time to pull the plug and reset everything in Winnipeg?
I think not everything. I think you have to keep Nikolai Ehlers and Kyle Connor. I think you have to keep those two. They're just still young. Like, not obviously young, but if you get rid of everyone, it's like then you're nothing. Then you're going to you have no chance of winning any games. But I think moving on from Scheifele and Hellebuck is a starting process, because those are old guys that can go to contenders that have tons of game left, and it's like you'll be able to get good returns for them. So it's something they need to pull the trigger on.
So before you go here, do the Jets have some pretty good prospects in the system?
They
or
do.
They just kind of like,
they do have some
give me some
great
names
prospects.
And then give me your...
Well, the big one's Cole Perfetti, and I don't think he's much of a prospect anymore, but he's still a young guy. I mean, you look at the Winnipeg Jets, they get Brad Lambert, Seattle Thunderbirds forward, who I was really high on the 2022 draft. I had him as the number 6 prospect. He falls all the way to the late 20s. I think he's really a game-breaking talent, Brad Lambert. And, other than that, their prospect pool, I mean, they're just starting the rebuild, right? They're starting to retool. They haven't had a lot of high draft picks, but Brad Lambert's the big one. They also got Rutger McGroarty out of the U.S. National Team Development Program, great leader. And definitely has a second line upside.
I think those Colby Barlow, right?
And Colby Barlow.
And Heinola.
Ville Heinola.
Is he good anymore?
I mean, he played in his rookie season, but he's kind of fallen off. And I think those are the big guys. And one thing I want to add to your point, I think trading Josh Morrissey while his value is at the highest could be a great move.
Forgot about him, for sure.
Josh Morrissey, point per game defenseman?
He was a Norris candidate. He was up there, so you got to get rid of him.
You could get probably 2 first-round picks, a really good prospect, and a second-round pick as well. I mean, but that Winnipeg team, they're still young. They just got to do some retooling, and they have some good prospects, like I said, Brad Lambert, Rutger McGroarty. And Cole Perfetti, still a great young player. And, I think the Jets will be okay. It's just no one wants to play there. They're like Ottawa 2.0 of the West.
But with the team they have, it's like moving the guys. They don't have to do a full, we got to get rid of Scheifele, Hellebuck, Morrissey, and we got to get extremely young. Like, they can move those guys for some picks, some mid-age players that are still have life in their game and that are still good. It's just they don't have to do a complete, okay, yeah, we're going 19-year-olds, we're going 21-year-olds. It's like they still have a lot of hope.
Okay, so that's what I was just going to ask. I was going to say, do you dump all these veterans, then bring up all this young talent, just let them all gel together, and then hopefully be a contender when they're all in their primes here? Because you've got a ton of prospects, which you named. Or should you try to retool, ship off the guys that are in their prime right now for some different pieces, and then try to make another run at this with some young guys coming up still?
I don't think so. I think you kind of do what Chicago's doing. You take your top guy, Connor Bedard, and you're surrounding him with good veteran players on pretty cheap deals that will be able to keep him at the NHL level and sustain him. I think one bad thing is if you rush a bunch of rookies in the league together and you have them play together, yes, maybe it could work out, but if it doesn't work out, there's no experience in them, they'll just get ran over and outplayed all game, and then it'll destroy confidence. So I think blowing them up and just bringing up all rookies is something I don't think you should do. You should be able to keep some guys and trade for some guys that have good experience in the NHL still.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to get into here, are the Vegas Golden Knights clear favorites to repeat? And I'm going to start with you, Joey.
No, I don't think they're clear favorites.
Why do you think?
Just because a lot of teams are getting better. The Devils, out east, Hurricanes, Rangers, Leafs are good again. And then out west, Dallas, I think they're the team to watch this year. And I think they're going to be the favorites out west.
Bryce?
I think that Vegas shouldn't be favored to win the Cup next year. Like Joey said, I put Dallas in my Stanley Cup final prediction. I got them as my favorites, like, coming out of the West to win the Cup. And I don't know, man. Like, Vegas, like Alex said earlier, it's all on Adin Hill. I mean, if Adin Hill is a flop, that team's in the dust again.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yes, I don't think they should be a contender, like the immediate favorite, but I do think they can still be a contender. I don't have them as the favorite to repeat just because hockey, I feel like it's hard to repeat unless you're a dynasty. You got the Chicago and LA dynasties in the early 2010s. Like, those were two dynasties that carried on for a while, and they repeated a couple times between the two of them. And just now in this game, I think it's just too hard to repeat because teams will continuously get better, and maybe you could have a fluke year and then all of a sudden you're not going to be back there again, which happens a couple times. Could see that happening with your St. Louis Blues comparison there with Binnington. Like, St. Louis made the Cup final there, did what they did, won it, and then kind of got lost because their goaltender fell off. Like, I think teams that have a great goaltender can keep them in the loop a lot. Vegas could have some troubles there, but hopefully they prove me wrong.
You said everything I was going to say. I think Vegas is not the favorite to repeat just based off of what I think of Adin Hill. If you don't have good goaltending, you're not going to go far in the playoffs. It's that simple. I'm just going to keep it short because you guys touched on every single point that I wanted to make. So, yeah, I think we're all in agreement there that it is on Adin Hill. And then my belief, I don't think he can repeat what he did last year. That's why another team will be the Stanley Cup champions. Anyways, before we get into some NFL here, we're going to do the Would You Rather. And I kept this name a secret. We are going to do Would You Rather Alex DeBrincat.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
First name, William Nylander.
Ooh.
I'm going Nylander.
Go ahead.
I'm going to Brinket.
I'll go Nylander. Yeah.
I'm going Alex DeBrincat. I think I'd rather have someone that does something elite than something that does everything good. Good to great.
Yeah.
Next name, Andrei Svechnikov.
Svechnikov.
Svechnikov. I even have to admit that.
Go ahead.
Svechnikov.
I got to go Svech here. Next name, Mika Zibanejad. I'm going to start with you, Ryan.
Wow. Damn, actually. I think I'll go Mika Zibanejad. I think he's just a pure goal scorer. So
Bryce.
I'm going to Brinket.
Okay.
Zibanejad.
I'm also going Alex DeBrincat.
Let's go.
Next name, I don't know if this guy's clear or not. Jason Robertson.
Oh, Jason Robertson.
Jason Robertson.
Yeah, I think he is clear.
I kind of wanted to throw it
Yeah.
in there because that's an
Yeah.
elite goal scorer, obviously.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to top him.
last name, Tim Stutzel.
Ooh.
Ooh.
His ex-teammate.
I'll go to Brinkett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've been hating on him too much with these.
So
eh?
Stutzel had 80 points last year. DeBrincat had 66, but obviously a down year for DeBrincat. Didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So you're going to go DeBrincat?
Especially playing on the Red Wings top line with Larkin.
You think he'll perform better?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
100% you bring it.
100%?
Yeah.
Stand on it?
100%. I mean, imagine DeBrincat's motivation when he's on the ice. He's playing
that's
for
what
his
I'm saying.
hometown team. I think he's going to put up 40 goals. I think a realistic outlook for him next season points-wise, 40 goals, 50 assists. I think he'll be close to 90 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go to Brinkett.
Give me Tim Stutzel. So yeah, Alex DeBrincat. A lot of names you can throw in the mix here because he had a down year, and if some people want to debate that he fell off or not, now with a new team with Detroit, he could bring a new life to his game here, especially playing for his hometown. He's going to be all juiced up and ready to go come opening day.
Yep.
Has the schedule released yet?
Lightning. First
Tampa
game.
Bay,
At
the team
home?
I hate the most.
At
Yeah,
home?
Home opener, yeah.
Oh, so yeah, Little Caesars Arena will be rocking.
It'll be rocking. You already know
Hockey
that.
Town is back, maybe.
It is.
It is.
It's
Big
maybe
time
back.
We'll
so,
all be watching that. We'll all be watching that here probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe live coverage on the
Live
game.
coverage on the game. Yep.
You never know what possibilities it will bring, and we're gonna get into here. What are the keys for these NFL teams? NFL is coming up soon,
Yep.
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, and I'm excited, very excited for NFL.
I am
Very
too.
excited.
I am
I think
too.
training camps are opening up soon?
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
Let's go.
Hype's going to start to build up, and we're going to get some record predictions later on. We're going to get your Packers, your Dolphins, your Broncos, Lions back there, Vikings. Everybody's going to get in here for a record prediction come August. And we're going to do some little questions here to tease us getting into the NFL season.
Okay.
What are the keys for these teams going into next year? I've got 3 teams here who are kind of in a place where nobody knows where they'll be, even this year or the next couple years. So we're going to go first. We're going to go to the Green Bay Packers. And you are obviously a Packers fan. And for me first, I'm going to start.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of take the odd route. I don't know if you guys are thinking the same thing. I've got how their run game is going to have to take some pressure off of Jordan Love's shoulders. Jordan Love is coming into a huge year for his career, obviously being the first starter. And I'd say there's no pressure with not a lot of expectations, but coming in now after a franchise that's had legendary QB play, it's never been a weakness for them. There's got to be some pressure. You're not only coming in to fill the shoes of Brett Favre, but to fill the shoes of the Hall of Fame legend Aaron Rodgers. And I feel like A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, one of the best running back duos in the NFL. They're going to have to take a lot of weight off Jordan Love's shoulders.
Yeah.
You got to be able to get the run game going. You can't rely on Jordan Love to make these out of the pocket throws, tough throws, and just lead the team throwing 40 passes a game. I just don't see it as a realistic option for the Packers if they do want to make a wild card spot or for Jordan Love to be successful at all. But the Packers as a whole, I think, getting the run game going, and obviously they're going to need good O-line play behind technically a rookie QB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this roster, I think it's incredible, actually.
It is very good.
Yeah.
The defense, the O-line's still good. The secondary is very, very good.
I like it.
Top
It's
10
kind of
league.
underrated in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Like you said, the run game, it has to take pressure off of Jordan Love because he probably will be nervous going into his first few
Has to
starts.
be.
With all the pressure on him. Green Bay, legendary football city. They expect a lot of their quarterbacks.
Floor is yours, Packers fan.
I think it's if the defense can live up to the hype. I mean, I think the defense was actually a struggle for us last year at times. And how many first-round draft picks, like,
Have
we
been
don't take
used.
receivers. Like, as much as I want us to take a
They
receiver,
love
we
the
don't
draft
take one.
defense.
Yep, and I mean, the defense has to live up to the hype. And I also have another thing here. Christian Watson has to break out for this team to be successful as well. And
Not only Christian Watson, but maybe you got a lot of young receivers in that room. If one can pop as a huge number one and get chemistry with Jordan Love, it'd be a huge bonus.
Oh, even Romeo Doubs. I think that's another guy who can break out as well.
Yeah.
But mainly, I think it's the defense that really needs to live up to the hype. We can't keep spending these first-round draft picks to have an average defense at best.
It's a very good take.
And, I mean, come on, guys. Get in the game.
You want to talk a little Romeo Doubs here?
Oh, Romeo Doubs. I like Romeo Doubs. He's one of my. I liked him coming out of college, but him going to the Packers, good fit. He's a lanky receiver. He's got some arm length to him. I think he'll be good next year. But for the Packers, I have don't treat Jordan Love as a rookie. Yeah, he will be coming to his first starts, but he's been a backup, practicing behind Aaron Rodgers, whatnot, all the time. He had some couple of starts. I mean, if you come in and treat him as a rookie, I think it'll hold you back a little bit.
He's got to know what he's doing.
Yeah, you got to. He's been practicing behind a goat for so long that you got to be able to know what you're doing. Him to come in, I think they're a young team, so I don't think you can have too much to expect from him. Just go with the flow. Just keep it up. And then find your threats early. If you can find a guy who Jordan Love likes off the bat,
you got to use
scheme plays for him. Make sure he's getting the ball. Find the ones that, okay, maybe they don't fit his game, maybe push him aside a little bit, whatnot. But you got to be able to benefit your quarterback. So whatever guys the ball is consistently, it's a good flow, good chunk yardage, make the most of it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So we're going to go to the next team. Definitely a wild card team, Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to start with you, Joey.
Well, obviously they got a new coach, Shane Steichen. I don't expect a lot from this team just because the defense has gotten a lot worse. And Anthony Richardson, we all know he's going to struggle in his first few games in the NFL. So I don't see them being that great, and I see them picking top 10 in the draft. But I think they just need to get the connection going between Pittman, Josh Downs, Jonathan Taylor. Just get their offense settled for the next few years so they can build this defense up again and start competing.
Bryson.
Well, I think the Colts made a good move getting rid of the ESPN analyst as their head coach, Jeff Saturday, because he should be back in the panel. And you know what? I think the big thing for this team is the offensive line that needs to step up to create running space for Jonathan Taylor, for him to do his thing. I think there's a lot of pressure on that offensive line, and Jonathan Taylor needs to step up. Pittman needs to step up. Josh Downs needs to be good right out the gate. Anthony Richardson, like Joey and Alex said, he's going to struggle, but he has great upside. Yeah. And it's not a failure of a season if this team gets a top 10 selection in this very stacked draft next season.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I got don't stress Anthony Richardson. Don't expect him to come in and just be a gunslinger, a guy who's winning you a lot of games right off rip. But in that case, I don't want them to overfeed Jonathan Taylor. I don't want them to just, okay, you're getting the ball twice a down, 3 times a down, like we're just going to keep pounding the rock with you because he hurt last season. You just don't want to keep injuries piling up because then... Especially
if the contract year, I think.
And if you keep piling up, who knows, his career could be very slim. I don't want to, like, some injuries you could, like you've seen it with Todd Gurley, an injury happens, boom, you're good. And then all of a sudden injury, you come back, you're done, you're dead. I don't want them to do that. And then you just got to keep it simple with him. It's like that's a tough, that type of quarterback that he is, it's tough to come in and just be amazing right away because of his versatility on running, passing. It's like you don't want him to, okay, I think it's college, okay, I'm able to scramble in this because the other coach on the other side is scheming up a good play to stop it. So you don't want to kill him right away. You don't want to discourage him at all.
Yeah. For me, I want one thing. I'm not looking for a key to be any type of success because the AFC is obviously stacked and the Colts don't stand a chance to contend for a Super Bowl, let alone win a playoff game, I don't think. But what I want to see here for the Colts, a key for the future, honestly, I want Anthony Richardson to learn Shane Steichen's offense, and Shane Steichen will teach him the Jalen Hurts ways, I think, because that's who he schemed up to be great last year. And if Anthony Richardson can learn some tips and tricks and some plays there, I think that he'll pan out very good in the next couple of years. And one more thing about Anthony Richardson, I want him to play play free, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be this type of guy who's just going to be sitting in his pocket rookie year, throwing checkdowns and stuff. I want Shane Steichen to give him those read options and let him run in the open field, do what he did in college, make jukes, take some contact, why not? And I wanted to see him make those deep throws and just let Anthony Richardson play free. Who cares if he throws 12 interceptions? It's his rookie year. The Colts have no expectations. Let him play free and let him do what he wants. Give him some runs to get the fans even, get them attracted to this type of quarterback, because they've had Andrew Luck, Nick Foles, Peyton Manning, a lot of just sit in the pocket, drop back, old traditional. Show them what the new NFL is and get these fans hyped up for what's to come for the Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson, who can be the most electrifying player in the NFL if he pans out to his potential.
Yeah, and I think the Colts, like the players around him and on their team, they got to buy into, because you got to be able to deal with adversity. Like, you can't just expect this guy to come in, okay, you're getting the ball a lot. Like, you got to be able to deal with, okay, maybe he's only throwing for 120 yards this game, an interception, bad game, but it's okay. You got to be able to pick it up, keep pace, and if you don't want to be there for a rebuild, just get out of there. Just you can't have players that are, okay, I'm here on the team going through a rebuild. I don't want to be here, but I'm here. It's like you got to be able to want to be there.
One thing, too, that's good, the Colts core, offensive core, too, is young. Pittman, Downs, Pierce, Jonathan Taylor. But one thing Jonathan Taylor's going to have to adapt to, 50% of the goal line touches are going to go to Anthony Richardson with the ball in his hands. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor's not just going to get the hut and drop back, and they're going to hand it off to him like the predictable way it was when they had Nick Foles and all these scrubs at quarterback, right? Yep. And Anthony Richardson, he could catch it even from shotgun and just jet to the pylon and give us some highlight type of play.
It's like it's not
exactly.
Like a little corner's not. He's
going to have to. Jonathan Taylor's going to have to realize that, hey, I'm not going to get as many touchdowns, but I'm going to have to be the workhorse to this offense, and he's still going to have to take some pressure off of Anthony Richardson in his rookie year. But like guys like Shaq Leonard, are they going to want to go through a rebuild? Is DeForest Buckner going to want to go through a rebuild? Gilmore already shipped off. Yeah. Clearly, he's trying to win now. And just Isaiah Rodgers, he's betting on other teams, and I don't know. But the Colts, they've got a pretty good young core. And this team, to me, last year going into last season, they had one of the best rosters on paper, non-QB. I say that a lot with the Browns because Watson's kind of a wild card. The Colts are another team. They had last year, before the O-line fell apart, they had an absolutely elite offensive line. Yeah, they had an elite D-line. Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, etc. Shaq Leonard, Bobby Okereke, he's no scrub. He can be a Pro Bowler. Isaiah Rodgers was amazing. Stephon Gilmore they had. Just so many guys on that team. Pittman, Pierce, a lot of expectations. And obviously Matt Ryan didn't come to play, and that eventually hurt their season. But Anthony Richardson now, if he can get these young guys going and this Colts team going, this team looks very, very good for the future. I like this roster, honestly. I like it. They just won't be good for the next 2 to 3 years, but oh boy, if Anthony Richardson pans out, it's gonna be very fun to watch. Last team we're going to go over here. This is the hardest one by far, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to start with you.
I think the Los Angeles Rams, I think you already won your ring. You got to trade your good players while they still have value.
Bingo.
And start getting draft picks. I mean, you got to look to trade Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I said it. They got to trade Cooper Kupp. They could try and get some value for Aaron Donald. I know he's a generational defensive talent. But imagine the package that you could get back for those guys. Yeah. I mean, they got to start trading off their guys. And obviously the Seahawks got better. The 49ers are still an elite team. The Cardinals, I still think, are ahead of them as well. They're nearly on the same level.
They're a dumpster fire right now.
They are. But, I mean, you won your championship. Sell high on your good players. Start the rebuild.
I'm going to second that. I think there's two directions for the Los Angeles Rams. If I'm the Rams, I'm going to let Matthew Stafford play this first half of the season. If they're shit in the bed like last year, ship off. Donald, it's probably his last year in my opinion. Yeah. Ship him off to a team that's probably a playoff lock. Let him have one more run for the end of his career. Cooper Kupp, if Matthew Stafford's obviously, if he's still injured and stuff like that, you'll either just bench him and let him retire, or you'll ship him off if they're not playing good. Yeah. Matthew Stafford gone. Then Cooper Kupp, he's still in his prime. If that team is below 500, like a couple games below 500 before the trade deadline, Cooper Kupp has to go.
Yeah,
he has to go. Yeah. One, because he's too talented to waste on a rebuilding team or a team stuck in no man's land.
Yeah.
And two, the value you can get for that receiver. Oh boy, it's going to be a lot. Big return.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think. I think you try to play for a wild card spot if I'm the Rams here. Do they have a first round pick this year finally?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so if they're playing, they're lurking around 500, maybe a game above, I say you ride it out again. But obviously lost Ramsey. There's nobody in that secondary to start with.
Worst in the league in my opinion.
Yeah, that roster's very weak. With behind Cooper Kupp, there's no depth. They don't have a running back really. Cam Akers.
You could get someone from the fire hall to play on that team. You wouldn't notice a difference.
And then, I just think you play this out to see, like, maybe a young guy pops in the secondary or something like that. But if it goes like last season, it's time to move on from everyone. You'll see a blockbuster, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald. You just got to ship them all off and get the value you can. I think someone that's contending would pay a first round and maybe a third or fourth for Cooper Kupp. Yeah. If they're like, okay, we have a chance at the Super Bowl, you could take our first this year and our third.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just think this team, they need to try and push for the playoffs just because Stafford, if he's back healthy,
exactly,
they really need to get the connection with him and Kupp back again. Like the 2021 season, it was absolutely incredible. But I don't think they'll work out at the trade deadline. They should ship off their guys. Maybe let Stetson Bennett start a few games because
he looks
good. Great quarterback.
Yeah, like this roster, it's absolutely horrible. The secondary, they have no one other than Aaron Donald, to be honest.
They don't. But so basically we're on the same page here. Let it ride out, and if they're bad, everyone's gone. But hey, if you can squeak in a wild card spot for these guys last couple of years, why not do it?
Yeah.
Did you go?
I went. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I got spam Cooper Kupp. I think he's really the only guy. I think you just got to go him. Get him 10 catches a game.
More.
12 targets, 15 targets a game. And then going on after that, you got to be able to find a solid wide receiver too pretty early, or else it'll be a very easy matchup because guys will go into the game and okay, boom, we'll just play over the top on Kupp, whatnot. Nothing else will happen. No threats, 3 and out all game.
You'll see a ton of double teams too.
So I don't know if Tutu Atwell can come into a role.
Van Jefferson.
I like Tutu Atwell. Van Jefferson.
Ben Skronik.
He was good. But,
he's a great player.
Yeah, no, I like one of those two, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, to come in and do a shell early. I think they have to, because if not, they'll be in such a hole that they won't be able to come out of.
Tyler Higbee still up there?
Yeah. I don't know how they use him well. I think more towards a blocker, but whatnot. I mean, if they could maybe turn him into a very good receiver, do it. But I also let Cam Akers cook. I think that, the backfield's all his now. Darrell Henderson gone. Yeah. Sony Michel they brought back, but
he'll be a third down back.
He'll be nothing. So I think Cam Akers, it's his time. He'll be out there 3 downs, 2 downs.
Yeah.
He'll be out there taking catches out of the backfield. He'll be running. I think it's his time to shine, and I think it's good for him. And then I think we've all agreed on trade deadline. They could be the most active team. They'll have a lot of people calling them. So I think those are phone calls that you have to take. So no, Rams are in a little predicament here.
Was Cam Akers a first round pick?
No.
I don't know. I think it was maybe like a third or a fourth?
Second or third, I think.
Florida State.
I thought he was a late first rounder, but I could be wrong.
He definitely wasn't a first rounder.
No, I think it was second.
Second.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cam Akers is going to see a huge role, actually. I agree. But he was not very good last year, the year before. I think that's the trust in the coaches, actually, that's been holding him back.
I think he has that injury, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't give him trust. It was just a little. And then when Stafford got hurt, they just said,
shut it down.
Let's pack it in for a little season. So.
Go ahead, Bryce.
But you know what? He did have a great end of the season.
Yeah.
Cam Akers. Yeah. He was a big reason why my fantasy football team won the whole league, because Cam Akers, he started to play well. I mean, credit to him for winning me my fantasy football league, but I think he has great potential to have a huge breakout next season.
Yeah.
One last question. Who is more likely to make the playoffs? The Houston Texans or the Carolina Panthers?
This is probably the easiest question. The Carolina Panthers all day.
Carolina Panthers.
I'm going Houston Texans.
Why?
I don't know. I like the form that Houston's got. I mean, bringing a defensive coach in does a lot and especially a defensive coach on a 49ers team, like he'll be able to turn a sorry ass defense with even just a couple casuals, and he'll make them know, and he'll turn them into something good. And then it's just you gotta have. They're both rookie QBs, so who do I think is gonna be better? Who's a better fit? I honestly think C.J. Stroud has better players around him, wide receiver. I think he'll be able to make more plays. Yes.
Who do we got at wide receiver on the Texans? We've got
Nico
Collins, John Mechie, Tank Dell.
Okay, yeah,
Dalton
Tank Dell.
Schultz.
And then they've got Mingo, Chark, Thielen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's pretty even.
Yeah, no, that's why I
Terrace Marshall too.
Yeah, I like the Texans. I think because especially they've surrounded them with. They got Singletary back there. He's a good, reliable, hard-nosed running
Singletary.
back.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think they still got Rex Burkhead as a third down or a third string, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they've got a lot around them, and their division, if you think about it, they're better than the Colts. Who's the other? Oh, Titans. They're better than the Titans.
You think so?
I think they're better than the Titans. And then it's like you look at them, the Jags. Yeah, I think the Jags are better than them, but I think the Texans can be a sneaky team. But then again, I'm saying it a lot. It's a rookie quarterback. Like a lot can happen. So I like the Texans.
I'm also going to take the Texans. And you stated good reasons. I think that, me personally, going into the draft, I like C.J. Stroud more than Bryce Young. I just think he's more poised, bigger frame, and I'd rather have someone as my quarterback like C.J. Stroud than Bryce Young, but it's definitely close. Bryce Young is definitely that generational type of QB, but we're going to do one more, actually. Speaking of the Titans, if you were the GM, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, who would you start week 1? Tannehill, Levis, or Willis? Go ahead, Joey.
I'd start Tannehill for the first weeks, but if they struggle, you throw in Levis. Willis, he will not be a good quarterback.
No.
I wouldn't even give him another shot.
No. XFL. Go ahead.
I disagree. I think Will Levis is almost on C.J. Stroud's level. I really like Will Levis. Will Levis, you guys all know I was high on Will Levis going into the draft.
Yeah.
And I think it's a no-brainer. You got to start this guy. And I think he has arguably a higher ceiling than Richardson. I think this guy could really be like the next Josh Allen. We know how good Josh Allen is. And Will Levis, he's got a cannon of an arm. He can run. I mean, he's a safer pick than Richardson, but he has similar upside. I think it's a no-brainer. You got to start Levis. Let the kid play.
Before you go, Levis was supposed to be this top 10 or first-round guaranteed pick, and he fell into the early second round, where now he's kind of been thrown into the shadow because he's not a first-round pick, right? So he's not a guaranteed starter. But if I were the Titans, I'd throw Levis right into the fire. I'd just say, hey, you've got the raw ability. Go out there, throw 13 interceptions because you have no one at receiver, and just learn the NFL, learn Vrabel, learn everything. You might not have Derrick Henry. He could be shipped off too at the trade deadline if that team
That'd
stinks.
be a huge deal.
And just learn and try to get better, kind of like a Trevor Lawrence type of situation, honestly. Go ahead, Ryan. Who would you start?
I'd start Tannehill just because, like, they have no pass catchers, and that I think will hurt a quarterback a lot. Because even if you're out there throwing good balls and no one's bringing them in, it's just at a point where it's like, even as a rookie, I'm better than what people think, but my receivers are selling me. It's like, I think the confidence can get destroyed from having bad receivers that can't get open. I think there's no difference really in starting Tannehill and Levis because of the team they got. Not one's going to carry that team to the playoffs. So I think you just have to ride Tannehill maybe for the full season, work something out in the offseason. You got to at least get one strong, reliable.
They've got Treylon Burks, who can he be a 1? I don't think so, but
it's tough. I mean, because he's hurt as a rookie. It's like
you can't judge these players. Yeah. Like, will he break out next year and be a Pro Bowler? We don't know.
Or will he be a Kadarius Toney and he's hurt
every year?
All the time. I mean, but
you'd go Tannehill just not to destroy Levis.
Yeah, I think just, and then maybe you let Levis sit behind him.
Would you wait a year? Would you wait 2 years?
I'd wait a year because I just don't like rushing guys, quarterbacks, like especially if they're something obviously had to happen for him to slip that far. If he was,
Yeah.
his betting lines were going up to be a top 10 pick and getting maybe the second
The Reddit
quarterback,
post.
third quarterback picked. It's like, so they must see some flaws in his game that might hurt him, and I just don't like rushing guys
Well,
in.
I mean, Will Levis, like, did you guys see when he got picked? Like, he has an attitude, right? I feel like that's the reason why he fell. In the
Could be a
draft.
good thing, could be a bad
It could
thing.
be, and I think letting Levis sit on the bench is really going to hurt his confidence. And I feel like
You just want him to go out there and
Yeah.
show that moxie right away.
yeah, and I feel like if he's sitting on the bench, he's going to not get as confident. He might not pan out as well. But I mean, starting Tannehill is not a bad thing if Tennessee wants to tank for a pick. I think you have a better chance of winning
Right.
with Will Levis in your lineup instead of Tannehill.
Yeah, Levis obviously brings way more talent, but
Yeah,
one thing I want to add. Go ahead.
no, okay. I was gonna say, I just think these hard nosed coaches. You got Vrabel. I don't think he'll go out and start a rookie right away. You saw that with Mike Tomlin. He said, "You know what, Trubisky, you're ass, but we'll start you. we'll start you for the first couple games of the season. Obviously, it wasn't good, but it's just a type of. Okay, imagine telling a rookie quarterback, you're going out week 1.
Who do they play
You're
week
playing a
1?
game.
Do we know?
The Titans,
No, but it's like, okay, you're going out.
Texans, maybe.
Let's see who they play.
That's a game you could start
so I
Levis.
can redirect my.
Saints. That wouldn't be a
Saints.
fun defense to actually
in
go
New
against.
Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Imagine telling
Yeah.
Will Levis, "Hey, you're going to Louisiana. You're playing
That
in the
rowdy
Mercedes-Benz
crowd.
Mercedes-Benz Superdome, right?
Yeah.
You're playing in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Mercedes-Benz Super. That's Atlanta Mercedes-Benz.
I thought they were both the
Okay.
same name.
Are
or
they?
something.
Whatever.
Whatever it is,
Doesn't
I- it
matter.
doesn't matter.
You're
It's a
going in.
football
You're going
stadium.
into New Orleans. Tough crowd, and you're supposed to rookie your first game.
That would be actually hell for Will Levis, throwing him in that fan base
No.
in a dome
Yeah.
against DeMario Davis, freaking who do they got on the D line? What's the guy's
Cam
Jordan,
It sounds
Marshawn
good.
Lattimore. It's actually like throwing
it's
him
a
into the
recipe.
fire.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's like I just think it's tough, especially when he's got nothing.
My side of throwing Will Levis into the fire.
He'll learn fast.
Maybe he's this huge attitude where he's like, I want this. I want
Yeah.
this. I want everyone to doubt me, and I'm going to go here with CFL receivers plus Treylon Burks and Derrick Henry. I'm going to throw for 200 yards, and I'm going to come up with an upset. And then the media's talking
then
going
he's
into
on the
week
map.
2.
He puts him on the map.
Week 2, the media's going into it. GMFB, NFL Network, First Take is talking about, is Will Levis the next Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Because he just came out here, he's screaming, he's all hype, and he
Yeah.
just carved up the Saints defense where the Saints were favored by 15 points.
Yeah.
You don't know. Will Levis is the definition of a wild card.
Yeah.
He's the
It's
Matvey
crazy.
Mishkov of the NFL.
It's fair. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, if Will Levis does not have that if he's going to shy away in the NFL, throwing him into that game would probably be the worst decision a
it'd be
coach could
awful.
make. But if he's this huge, cocky guy like he presents himself to be, give him the chance. Let's see if he really is that cocky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying let him start that game. I mean, imagine all the fire he has behind him right now. Like,
Especially falling in the draft, too. He's got to be some sort of chip on his shoulder.
yeah, chip on his shoulder. That's the word I was looking for. And I think he goes out there, he proves himself, and I feel like it wouldn't be a bad idea to start Levis. Obviously, if they want to play it safe, they'll go with Tannehill, but I still think starting Levis wouldn't be a bad move in New Orleans.
Do you want to add anything?
No. I think.
What are you
I'm
looking
good.
up
I'm
here?
wrapping it up.
I'm just looking at their schedule where he could come into the season.
What are the first 3 games?
He's got the Saints and then the Chargers at home, and then he goes to the Browns.
Yeah. So that's
So-
just a. You're like.
Right there, those 3 games, if you're that good, prove it. Right there.
But they all
Saints,
got good
Chargers,
D
Browns.
lines that will just beat him up.
Yeah.
Exactly, and the
That's tough.
Titans don't have a
Titans
good
will-
passing O-line.
And they don't
Yeah.
give a shit about Tannehill, really. Like,
No.
okay, let him get beat up.
if
We're
they threw
worried about-
Tannehill in there, they said go 0-3 and get sacked 5 times
Yeah.
a game.
Yeah. So it's like I think you just.
I
gotta
don't
play
even
it
know.
safe.
Speaking of the Titans, I don't like how's Derrick Henry going to perform? Because
Yeah.
if Tannehill goes into this, there's going to be 5. There could be 6 guys in the box.
There's stuff in the box, 100%.
There could be 6 guys in the box. Seriously, like they have nothing.
That's
Yeah.
why you got to start Levis, to create that versatility for Derrick Henry to be more
could.
successful.
Yeah, exactly. If Levis is going to go out there and if he can perform, it definitely takes some weight off Derrick Henry's shoulders. Like,
And I also want to add something here. Will Levis, he's a great runner.
Yeah.
He's a great runner. And you guys mentioned the D lines being a problem. Well, he can escape the pocket and run. That's one of his strengths, right? I mean, he's not going to look to do that all the time, but it's definitely an option for Will Levis to escape the pocket and go for a run and show that you got the Josh Allen mobility. And
yeah. So that's going to do it for episode 10 of the Alec Frengos Show. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching.